Hi, how is everyone? So happy to be here. So happy to see you guys. So happy to connect. Oh my gosh, I am so excited to share this next little bit with you. Some really big ideas. So, what I wanted to talk about is, yes, I do truly believe that it is super important to sit in the present. Although, I do think that our past choices, not even think, but we know that our past choices ultimately have and do lead us up to where we find ourselves literally in the present. And although our experience of the perfect present is relatively linear, there's really so much more going on, right? There's so much more going on. So, for example, although I, Meg, am currently and presently here at 36, there's still, I shouldn't say that, I'm 30 forever, but still physically here in the linear time span, I'm 36. And, but yet there's still an inner baby, child, and teenage Meg within. And the same with you guys, right? Those versions of us are still alive in the present, and then they'll come and go. But I mean, it's known in that we have memories that resurface at times. So, as we are called to step into our purpose, so what we believe is our mission, the reason that we're here in this lifetime, sometimes there are gifts from the past that are like reminders, gifts or reminders from our past that can be like these navigational green flags for how we're meant to make our individual unique impact. Pretty cool. So what do I mean? You might be going like, okay, well, what do you mean? So this is why this is so fun for me. So I'm going to share a little bit about me, but I want you to see how you can do the same practice and uncover these green flags for yourself. So my family and I, we're a family of four, my husband and I, and we have 2 young children, and we've just been traveling for 2 years. Our house that we're moving back into has been rented for 2 years. So we're just coming back, and in the past month, we've been unpacking boxes and boxes of lifetime treasures that have really it's been an enlightening and revelationary experience. Because I'm a bit of a pack rat, so I'm sure my husband might not feel the same, but I've been uncovering a lot of these green flag reminders of like, wow, these are things that you have always done. And you guys are all going to have things that you have always done your whole life that are going to be green flags for what you're here to make an impact in. So as I've been unpacking, so it's like these things that are just like homeostasis, unchanging. So here's a few things, and because I do believe we do forget, and so it's worth the time to sit down and look back and reconsider. So one thing I uncovered was my pictures and photo albums from when I was a teenager. And what was aware to me is my energy is big, and it always has been. And I love it because I believe that I'm here to do big things. 2, I've uncovered and realized that I have this massive, huge addiction to books. As I've uncovered this immense collection of books. So not just my books, like chapter books for my pleasure, nonfiction and fiction, but just like boxes and boxes of children's books that I have been collecting from before I had kids, because I was an elementary teacher also. And so collecting for the classroom, which I knew would eventually be for my kids. So I have this absolute out of this world love for books. The third thing I unpacked or discovered as I was unpacking is I have always been a teacher since I was like 3 or 4 years old. So I've always been teaching. 4, I uncovered all of my ribbons, medals, and trophies from when I used to swim competitively. Now, this didn't really have a huge revelation as to what I'm supposed to be doing to make my impact currently. But within that box of medals, I happened to flip one over synchronistically and saw that it was an award for public speaking. So it was kind of like, oh, wow. As you've always been a teacher, and as I'm here speaking with you guys, I believe it's always been in me to be in the public speaking. 5. I have uncovered from all of the classes that I've taught from when I went through my teacher's college and university, books that I made within the classrooms, or books that I've made for projects that were requested of me. And as I uncover these, I'm also reminded of, as a teenager, how I would make, with my friends, we would make little books and share them back and forth. I've always not just read books, but I've always made books. So becoming a little bit more aware that it's not just within me to teach, but starting to realize that I really love everything literacy, right? So I like reading, I like writing, I like creating. Another thing I uncovered was all of my journals from when I was like 15 years old. So I've always written. Within these journals, I've discovered that I have a series of poems that I've written. So I've always been a bit of a wordsmith. I've collected, mostly what the journals are made up of are quotations that I've collected as I was reading through books that called out to me. And there's also bit of a green flag for purpose within those, because it's an idea of what has always spoken to me. So really, really interesting to look back in those. I also uncovered my paper, and I haven't kept things like this, but of course, tucked right there in one of the boxes was this loose paper that I'd written in university. It was my philosophy of teaching. And I have to tell you, it blew my mind, because if I take it out of context of the classroom, it is my belief about how I want to interact with people in the world. So super, super cool to discover that. And so that sums it up. I'm going to share a little bit more in just a second. But so the evidence that I've concluded in finding all of these little treasures of my past are that I have always been a teacher. By living big and bold, I'm inspired by an immense imagination and level of dreams. Thank you to everybody who's popping on. But now, because I've recently stepped away from the classroom and moved, I'm teaching yoga and meditation and mindfulness practices, quantum flow. So through all of these, so I'm still a teacher. And now instead, what I teach are modalities of energy work and mindset, which awaken your purpose to help others live a life aligned with their soul and their core beliefs. And I teach it through this impact of having this big, bold, immense imagination and dreams, because this is how we all step into our purpose. We've got to do it. We've got to just commit to it. We've got to have these massive, big dreams, big beliefs, see our highest version of self. So if we're like, yes, I want to do this, but it's like, but what is the impact that I'm waiting to make? And so this is where this all comes around to you guys. So thank you for everybody who's stuck with me, is what can you do to look, and I mean, if you're not a pack rat like me, because I know not everybody is, like I said, my husband, he has like one box of things. And if you can't uncover all of this from your past, what you can do is you can sit and you can think back to like those things. What are those things that you did? What are the sports? What are the activities that you did as a kid? And this is, I wouldn't have remembered all of these trophies and these medals and these ribbons and these papers had I not conveniently kept them. But I would have had a recollection, like the recollection of, well, I went to school for teacher's college. I took, I majored in psychology and minored in English, and my friends and I did this, and these were the activities I loved the most. On my free time, I did this. So if you sit down and look back for those green flags, they do tell you a lot about the homeostasis, the things that have stayed stagnant, the things that have stayed strong and present through your whole entire life. And you can use that towards how are you going to make your big, huge, massive impact in your life now, today, tomorrow, in the present? So although I would caution to not live in the past, I do believe that there's these really powerful green flags about how you can make a difference, how you are meant to express your unique modalities that are going to be immense, that are going to be powerful, that are going to leave an impact. So anyways, this was really, really super special for me to get to share this with you guys. I hope that there's some resonance in it for you. One of the things that I did find was a book that I had made in Teachers College, and I'm going to share it on my page in a couple parts. I think it'll work out to like a 5-day part, just because it's special and I love it, and I am a teacher and as a teacher I've always read stories, and as a mom I always read stories with my kids, and I still love writing and creating and speaking, so I'm going to share a little bit of that with you guys. So thank you so much. Oh, Marcy, I think you're on here with me again. Woo! So I hope that, thanks for sticking around. It was so great to everybody else who popped on, and let me know, what are some of the things that if this did click and ring a bell, what are some of the things that you know you've always done, things that like from when you were like 3 or 4 have not changed until the present, because those are massive indicators. Don't ignore them. Appreciate them, honor them, love them. I love you guys so much. Thanks for joining me. Have a beautiful night. Take care.